dawn had only just broken. Pearls of morning dew still clung to the thatched roof, and the cool air carried the scent of damp earth and wild grass. In the yard, the newly raised chickens murmured softly. Inside her room, the spirit beast egg she had placed with such care continued to radiate a faint, steady warmth. She woke early, very early. After a night of cultivation, spiritual energy flowed through her meridians with newfound ease. She hadn't broken through, but her late-stage beginner wood realm had been firmly stabilized. Her spiritual power was clean, pure, and utterly free of turbulence. She slipped on an outer robe and stepped into the yard. Her 3 husbands were already awake. Qin Changyun was stoking the stove. Qin Changfeng was sharpening an old knife. Qin Changyun carried a bucket of water back from the well. The pale morning light fell across him, making his tall figure look even more striking than before. She swept her gaze over them once, then spoke clear, decisive. "I've thought it through. Winter is coming. If we want a new home, we have to move faster. This house. One heavy snowfall and it might collapse." She paused, then continued, steady as a bell. "So today we divide the work." All 3 looked up. She turned to Qin Changyun first. "Yun, take me up the back mountain. I want to examine the terrain, the water sources, the soil. We'll decide where to plant medicinal crops, where we can build, and which areas we keep as forest." Qin Changyun nodded without hesitation. "All right. I know the mountain paths. I made a round yesterday. There are a few places that are very good." Her gaze shifted to the other 2. "Changfeng, Changying. You 2 go to the old battlefield." Her voice remained calm, yet there was no room for doubt. "Gather any weapons left behind, broken blades, snapped spearheads, shattered armor. Anything that can still be used. I'll need it later." For a heartbeat, Qin Changfeng's eyes brightened. Then he lowered his head. "I know that place well. Going in daylight will be safer." Qin Changying nodded too. "I'll go with Big Brother." She gave a small nod, then added, "Stay alert. If anything feels wrong, retreat immediately." They answered in unison. Breakfast was simple, and it ended quickly. She carefully brought the spirit beast egg out from her room and set it into a wooden box lined with soft cloth. Before leaving, she bit her fingertip and let a single drop of blood fall onto the shell. A gentle warmth spread outward. In her mind, the system's voice sounded lower than usual. Spirit beast nurturing, continue to provide spiritual power and vital blood daily. Incubation time undetermined. She nodded faintly and tucked the egg away with care. The mountain path that used to drain her no longer felt so punishing. Qin Changyun walked ahead, pointing as he went. "This soil is black and soft. Holds moisture well. Medicinal crops will thrive here." She crouched, brushing her fingers lightly over the earth. Her wood affinity flowed outward. The ground beneath her palm trembled faintly, answering her with a pulse of lush vitality. "Very good," she murmured. They went deeper until the sound of water appeared clear, continuous. A narrow stream revealed itself, crystal bright, running year-round. Wild plants crowded its banks. She recognized a few as low-grade herbs. Qin Changyun said, "I tried digging here. The water level is over half a foot down. Even in the dry season, it doesn't run dry." She smiled. Water secured. Fertile land secured. Space secured. Far from the town, less attention. In her mind, the future unfolded with vivid clarity: neat plots of green medicinal fields, fruit trees interspersed among them, wooden houses half veiled by morning mist, a quiet, enduring mountain estate. They made a wide circuit. She memorized every path, every slope. One day she said slowly, "This will be our home." Qin Changyun's steps halted. He turned to her, his eyes brightening. Then he bowed deeply. "I'll protect this place." At the same time, elsewhere, Qin Changfeng and Qin Changying stepped into a barren, desolate land. It was daytime and the sun shone overhead, yet the place still carried an unshakable chill. The earth was cracked and dry, weeds grew sparse and stunted. Shattered armor plates, broken blades, rotted spear shafts lay scattered across the ground. The stains of blood and fire from years ago seemed etched into the soil itself. Qin Changfeng stood in silence for a long moment, eyes darkening. "No wonder no one dares come here," he said quietly. They began to gather what they could. Anything usable was bound into bundles. Rusted iron could still be smelted. Even broken weapons still had value. As they worked, Qin Changying suddenly froze. "Big brother, my leg feels better. We've been walking this mountain terrain so long, but it doesn't ache at all." He stopped and stamped down a few times hard. That familiar heaviness that had haunted him for years was gone. Qin Changfeng looked at him. Surprise flashed in his eyes, then his voice fell low and certain. "It's her." They said nothing more, but both understood ever since they followed her their fate had turned onto a different path. A month later. Time passed slowly, steadily. Every day she fed the egg her spiritual power, and a thread of vital blood. The shell gradually shifted to a pale, reddish hue, and the warmth became clearer, stronger. One night, as she cultivated, she heard a faint sound. Crack. Her eyes opened. The egg trembled. A tiny fissure appeared. The system suddenly rang out, bright with excitement. "Detected. Spirit beast about to hatch." Holding her breath, she placed her hand on the egg and poured wood energy into it. The fissure widened. A small life fought to break through the hard shell, arriving into the dim light of her room. She didn't blink once. She knew it deep in her bones. From this moment on, her path of cultivation had truly begun. That morning, dew still clung to the grass roof. The young sunlight had only just touched the threshold when she woke earlier than ever. For an entire month she had kept the spirit egg in her room, nurturing it day after day with essence, blood, and her own life-bound spiritual energy. Last night it had trembled, spiderweb cracks had spread across the shell. She knew the moment had come. She sat cross-legged with the egg before her hands, forming seals. Wood energy flowed like a gentle tide, wrapping the egg in warmth. The room was so quiet she could hear her own heartbeat. Crack! A soft sound. The shell flaked away in tiny pieces. She held her breath, eyes fixed. Then, a tiny black nose poked out first. She froze. Next came two drooping ears, damp fluff, and a round little body that tumbled out of the shell. The small creature shivered, let out a weak muffled whine, and then without hesitation crawled straight over, and rubbed its head against her palm. She stared, speechless for a long moment. Small, gray fur tinged with pale red. Short little legs. A tail that wagged faintly. It was a strange little puppy. Right then, the system's voice, usually ecstatic, sounded in her mind. Notice, detected, unidentified fire aspected life thing. Analyzing appearance. Conclusion, puppy. She nearly choked on her own spiritual energy. A puppy. She looked down at the creature nibbling her sleeve with innocent persistence, swaying as it did. "You said an ultra-rare fire spirit beast, suitable for alchemy. And it's a dog." The system fell silent for 2 beats. Recalibrating. Error due to incomplete bloodline manifestation. As if it understood her, the little thing lifted its head, round black eyes staring up at her. In that instant, a faint fire mark flickered at its brow like the first hint of an unformed Killing scale. The air shuddered softly. She went still. The system's tone jumped higher, urgent. Warning. Ancient bloodline detected. Reanalyzing. Result, fire aspected spirit beast auspicious Killing. Killing. She lowered her head, and lifted the tiny creature with both hands. It was light as a feather, warm its breath, carrying the newborn scent of fire. "You!" The puppy gave a very small woof, then puffed out a spark the size of a firefly. It landed on the floor and vanished at once. The system coughed awkwardly, suddenly less confident. Note: newly hatched, Killen bloodline not fully awakened. Infant form, temporarily resembles a puppy. A soft laugh escaped her. It was light, warm, and the creature in her hand snuggled closer, wagging harder. "All right," she said gently, her gaze softening. "Whether you're a Killen or a puppy, you're my first spirit beast." She sent a thread of pure spiritual energy into its tiny body. At once it trembled, the damp fluff seemed to brighten with pale red, and the fire energy within it began to circulate more smoothly. Outside, the morning wind stirred the spirit herbs she had planted the night before, their leaves quivering like a quiet celebration. Far away, faint voices Changfeng and Changyin calling to each other as they prepared to head into the mountains drifted through the air. An ancient spirit beast. An egg picked up by the roadside. A beginning beyond all expectation. She watched the little creature dozing in her hands and let her lips curve. One day, she whispered, "I'll make the world know my Killen. Even if it started out looking like a puppy, will never be ordinary." The tiny puppy sniffed softly, curled into her palms, and fell fast asleep.